All right, hello Facebook, how's it going? And anyone that's watching and maybe goodbye autoimmune disease as well. Thank you so much for joining and watching today. Today we have a really special conversation today. I'm really excited to speak with one of my good friends, Simone. And she is from Germany. She's in Germany right now, and you guys can see her right now on the camera. And as you saw in the title above, if you're watching, this is going to be a story, of a transformation from autoimmune disease, and that is something that, as a lot of you guys know, I've been talking a lot about it and focused on after I was, able to recover, from my own autoimmune disease that was really very challenging. And it is not an easy thing to overcome. And most people do think it's impossible because of the challenges is so daunting, for some people. And each one can be its own kind of challenge and a little bit different, as far as how you need to tackle it. But there are a lot of similarities, which I think is a good thing, as far as some of the root causes of a lot of autoimmune diseases. So we're going to be focusing more specifically on Simone's story and IBS. So that is something that she had overcome, and I'm really excited to hear because I'll be honest with you guys, I haven't heard the whole story yet. So I'm so excited myself to hear the story, just as excited as you guys. And the goal of this, is to help others, and I know that Simone, that's really important for her as well, is that we do want to help other people. And I remember that just the first time I met someone kind of like this, but actually it was in person, and I was doing an interview for my podcast, and had nothing to do with autoimmune disease, but in the podcast, I learned that the person I was interviewing had Hashimoto's, autoimmune disease of the thyroid. And it was the first time in my life I ever met someone that had autoimmune disease. And what I learned is it was so powerful for me to see someone do it and hear how they did it and learn that it was actually possible. Because before that, I was like, maybe it's possible, but I don't know. But when I saw it and I heard it, I was like, okay, I believe, like, let's do this, and since then, like, I was on a journey because I believed it was possible. Before that, I wasn't really trying because I didn't think it was possible, So I think that's a big factor for a lot of people. All right, so without further ado, Simone, go ahead, introduce yourself a little bit.
Yeah, hello. Thank you, Kevin, for inviting me here. I'm very grateful, and I appreciate everything you do. It's always so amazing seeing your posts. So I'm Simone. I'm from Germany, the beautiful city of Cologne. And I have been suffering for more than 20 years from IBS. So IBS is irritable bowel syndrome. So it is all about poor digestion and gut issues. So I am a trauma child. So I experienced a lot of violence in my childhood. And this really has an impact, of course, it has an impact of our body, but not only mentally, but also physically. And I would say physically even more. So what acted up, it was my gut. How should I start? Where should I start? IBS has so many symptoms. And so with me, it started with terrible bloating. So I had bloating all day long. And not, as you guys know it, for example, after a heavy meal or so, but really painful. So bloating up to under my chest. And I really felt like I'm getting a heart attack. It was so painful. And it pushes up your, what is it, a diaphragm. So it is incredible. You can't breathe anymore. And it's devastating, really. And in addition to that, you have a lot of cramps, and the digestion doesn't work anymore. It is a change from obstipation and diarrhea. The only thing I could do was lying on the sofa and wait hour for hour until it's better. And I tried everything from herbs and teas and capsules and physical treatment, everything. But nothing really worked. And Honestly, so doctors, I had a surgery. I had a really heavy gut surgery because everything was inflamed inside my gut and stomach and everything. And I got tons of antibiotics through my veins.
Can I
So
ask really quick about the surgery? What kind of surgery and what did they do?
they cut out or took out part of my colon. So this part is missing. And after that, they told me I have to live with gut issues for my whole life. And I believed it. So what else, if the doctor tells me that, I was still young. And so, yeah, so I had a big struggle and tried to arrange my life, but I always had to adjust. And I always had to to say no in social situation. I can't go with you, I can't join you. And I always tried, but very often I had to stay at home. So I isolated myself. And it was heavy to choose a meal that is really yummy for you. Always things like I don't want that, but this is the only thing my gut tolerates. Yeah, it is really like that. And also, if your gut is so bad, it impacts other things. So I got tons of other things. I got migraines, insomnia, multiple sclerosis, fibromyalgia, whole body pain. Everything was reacting. My whole body was upset.
Can I say something really quick about fibromyalgia is often seen as one of the most painful autoimmune diseases, right? And oftentimes, I mean, it makes sense because it's everywhere, right? It's just like everything hurts all over, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the difference with the disease that I had is called ankylosing spondylitis. You might not have heard that. I've heard of that one, maybe. But that one is a disease of the spine, right? So it's impacting the spine, and the pain levels are a little bit higher, they say, on from that disease versus the fibromyalgia. And most anyone experiencing autoimmune diseases, and they know about that, or they've had fibromyalgia, they often think that is the worst one as far as pain. They're all terrible. They're all bad. They all hurt. But I found that really fascinating when I was looking into it, because you don't really know when you're going through it. You're like, this hurts and this sucks. But when you see like the pain levels of like other ones, and then you realize like, holy crap, like I used to explain that I was at the nighttime, it felt like I was in a car accident. I've been in car accidents. It felt like I was in a car accident every single night. You know what I mean? So anyway,
I believe you, because fibromyalgia, I always say it feels like the pain is not deep. It feels like just under the skin. It's so it's hard to describe, but it's a tearing under the skin. It's not deep. And that's perhaps why you say the level in your case is higher. That makes sense.
Mine was internal though. It wasn't on the surface.
Yeah.
It was like mine feels like inside the spine. It feels like the spine is blowing up or something. Like like you got hit. It feels like it got hit by a car.
Yeah,
Like, that's what it felt like. Like literally like you just broke your back or something. That's what it felt like. It's a little bit different. Like feeling like you broke your back or something.
So but I adjusted my life, and I nearly had given up with my gut. I said, okay, I have to live with it. But with all the other issues, I came to a point where I really said to myself, it doesn't work anymore. It's too much. And I'm a fighter. I didn't want to give up. And what do? You research. Forget about the doctors, you research. And I went on the internet and researched. And actually, I researched medical terms and everything. What I found coincidentally was Alison Jade. So she's one of the leaders in the Purium business. And thankfully, she introduced me to the superfoods. And like you, I believed. So I heard stories about healing, other things, a lot of different things, and I just believed. Because if you have no alternative and something, or it caught my attention, so I believed. And this was an intuition. And this was good because this was a game changer.
I think it's two things. It's like, I agree, like I believed like it was possible for it to happen, but then I needed like a real solution, you know what I mean, that made sense. And obviously, like you studied nutrition before too, right? Or have some knowledge of nutrition, right? And so I did too. So like a lot of the stuff made sense. Even at the time, I was really looking for gut health. Like I was looking for a solution for that. I couldn't find one. I was actually looking, you know, before I found this. I was like, and all the things didn't make sense, you know, that it's just everyone had all these different ideas, but nothing seemed really clear. Like this was the most one thing that like, this looks really clear and makes a lot of sense. Plus, like obviously the people that have been helped. So what did you experience? Like what did you do? And like how did you get to the point where you feel like you overcame it?
Yeah, of course, I concentrated on the word gut health. This was my keyword. It's very spread in the Purium business and gut health. So, and I was introduced to the biomedic in here in Germany, in Europe. It is Gut Harmony, but totally identical. And I tried them, and it didn't work. And I was so frustrated. Of course, I went step by step into the Purium diet, the Purium lifestyle. I love my green juices and all the other things. I take my trace minerals, my chlorella, and so on. But it was frustrating. My gut was still acting up, bloating, and despite the biometric. And the beautiful thing is with Purium, you can always reach out to people with experience, to nutritionists, and there's always somebody who wants to help you. And I reached out to a nutritionist here from Platinum in Europe, and she gave me a good recommendation and said, try this. 3 products and really a strategy, 10 days, 20 days, 10 days, 20 days, and then the biomedic again. And I did it. And from the first day, I took the Super Cleanse R. This is a parasite cleanse. In Europe, it is called Black Walnut Plus. And from the first day on, I felt, wow, it is calming down. It was incredible. And I did it the 10 days. Then after that, I took enzymes. Enzymes it is called, because our digestion starts directly on our tongue. And it is helpful for a better absorption, also for our stomach. And they pre-digest the food. And this also worked very good. My gut was getting better and better. And it was so good that I didn't want to stay away from the enzymes, because she said after this full month, 10 days, the cleanse, the parasite cleanse, and then 20 days, the enzymes, I should go on the biometric. And I didn't want, because it was before terrible. The probiotics from the biometric upset my gut, and I didn't want, but she said, do it. And it worked well. I mean, I did it 2 months in a row, 10-20, 10-20, and then the biometric. And it was perfect. My gut was prepared now to tolerate the probiotics, what was too much right away from the beginning. And this was really a game changer for me. So much relief, because as I said, I have other issues, and now I have much more power and energy to care about all the other things. And I feel them getting better also. So that's really great. And I'm so thankful.
That's so amazing. And I'm so grateful for you for sharing your story. And you're right. Sometimes people are in a state where their gut's so damaged, like what you're saying, you have the surgeries, plus the medications, plus the autoimmune disease, like a lot of things are going on there, and yeah, and I've seen that too in the past where you need to introduce sometimes, like exactly, like you have a great plan, which is amazing. And I'd love, anyone in the future experiencing that, can definitely, follow a good solution for that, but I do agree that there are times where it's too much, I mean, even just the greens, for some people is like, it's too much right now. Okay, add a little bit in, guide it in a little bit earlier. But then the other thing is, it's also the duration of time that we've had some of these diseases, and I think that that's something that people don't often take into account, like, okay, if I'm dealing with someone that's 10 years old and they're dealing with some health issues, they're going to recover really quickly. Their immune system is already strong. They already have a lot of strength and building and growth in them, that something that's hurting them, they could quickly recover pretty quickly. You know what I mean? But as we get, older, one, it's just harder to recover when you're older, you know what I mean? But two, like whatever we had been developing for many, many years, and sometimes we don't realize not only is it going to take some time, but you might need to ease into some of these things. Like even really my transition to where I am, like I say, like 5 years, really, I mean, ish kind of that I've been really doing it, and I would say where I am now did not start out 5 years ago. Like it was a gradual progression, a gradual transition, constantly, small improvements over time, and I didn't have, this gut healing or these superfoods, during the beginning of the journey. But if I did right in the beginning, it would have been too much. It would have been maybe too hard. I might have rejected. I'd have people, I work with that are like, total fast food, like not even vegan, nothing, like real, like total junk, standard American diet. When they drink something really healthy, like, like one of the green juices that we have, for example, it doesn't taste good to them. And they might think, oh, this is not good. This is not good taste. I don't like this. But what's actually happening is their body is so acidic, right? That this is so alkaline and so healing that the body it rejects it. It can't quite take that in. And it does taste bad to them. And I understand that. And you know what I say to them? Like, if it does, it's an even bigger sign that you need it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, I agree. Yeah. Their tongue is not used to natural tastes. We have cells on our tongue, and if they are so acid, you are right, they are just not used to it. And also the overload of healthy things, the body cannot compensate it. That's
and you know what happens? Like I have a friend who eats really, really healthy, but he'll eat like some junk food sometimes, you know what I mean? And he's like, oh, I'm drinking a lot of the healthy stuff and stuff, but then like I have to go to the bathroom all the time and I have to go to the bathroom all the time. You know what I mean? You know what's happening? His body's getting rid of all that crap, all the other stuff that he ate. You know what I mean? And if he just kept it clean, he wouldn't have as many going, and that's what people have. Like your body's trying to get rid of stuff, but the foods they were eating is so good at eliminating the junk that when you eat it, you go fast. That's why people are like, oh, I had the runs or had this. Well, you gotta get clean. Like it's your body's telling you, that your body's telling you something. You gotta listen. It's saying, I need to get this stuff out. You just got to give it time. And then the other thing too is, especially your situation where you actually had a surgery where like pieces of your body are totally missing.
And it works without the pieces now. It works without the pieces.
Yeah, so. I know. That's because our body can adapt. It can heal. It can recover. Well, think about it. You get a big cut in your arm, it'll heal. You can heal it. You know what I mean? Break a bone severely. I've had crazy surgery on my leg. Yeah, I have terrible surgery on my leg. And put the bones back together, like your body, fuses them together or whatever. There is healing going on, but we often don't give our body the opportunity to heal itself sometimes. Like sometimes we're bombarding it. That's why like people have such healing benefits when they fast, or when they do like an extreme elimination diet where they're like, I'm only eating potatoes and nothing else. Like you'll have some benefits because you're finally giving your body a break from maybe some of the stuff that you've been putting into it, and it gives it a chance to heal. And I think it's important to know your journey is important to not give up. I have so many people there, they go a month in, they're like, it didn't work, I'm giving up. Like, you had cancer for, developing cancer for 30 years. You think in 1 month, you're gonna reverse all of that cancer damage? Like, no way. Like, you need more time, like a good general good assessment is like 3 months, like at least. Like, let's assess at 3 months. Do we need to add more? Do we need to add less? Like, where are you at? What's your, because sometimes people see things in there, like even the food today, I was helping with someone, they're like, oh, that seems like a lot. You know what I mean? I was like, is it though? Is this really a lot? Like, one, this replaces all of the food they're eating. It might be even cheaper than what you're buying your food now and all the food they're eating now. And if you cancel all the supplements. And I said, my autoimmune disease medication is $6,000 a month in the US. Now, it was 4,000 when I had to take it. It's 6,000 now. I don't take it anymore. But that's how much it cost. Nothing, no food, no one is eating most people are not eating $6,000 worth of food.
Yeah, that's so crazy. If people always say it's so expensive, the food, and they don't think what they spend on medication and on other things. Yeah, that's really true.
Yeah, for sure. And so it's definitely a mindset. And I mean, I have people that need such deep healing. Sometimes we're like, they're getting $1,200, $1,500 orders. And it's like, you need this, you need as much of the good as possible. And like, ideally you only put good in and you don't put bad out. Everyone's a little bit different. Obviously, if you have like extreme gut issues, I wouldn't be saying, eat all this stuff. It's the opposite, like, stop eating the stuff, and that's what I have to tell sometimes people, and they struggle. They don't realize sometimes that your food and what you eat and getting better it's not only what you put in, it's also what you don't put in. And it's both of those things together. Sometimes people, I'm like, want to help them, like, they think that it's a one fix all. Like, here's one solution, that's all you got to do, and you're going to be good, because that's what a lot of people are taught nowadays, take this one pill, it's going to be your solution, right? But the problem is, we need so much more. Even the story that you told, and even my story, when it's just food, is not the whole story. It really is a holistic approach. Absolutely. Right? Like the yoga, for me, I know yoga is huge for you. Yoga is not huge for me, but it is one of the biggest pieces in my healing, is the yoga that I did. But that's one example.
Must not be huge for everyone. There are also other activities like Qigong or even meditation or slowly walking. Everybody has to find what really calms the body and connects you with your mind, the mind-body connection. And that's it. It must not be yoga for everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. For sure. I mean, that's just one example, right? But I mean, even people that go to the gym, right? Like that can be a very critical piece in the healing. I know my mom, I don't know if she would have healed as much if she didn't go to the gym, because she needed muscles, for her bones. She had osteoporosis, so bone strength. And what do the doctors tell her? They say, don't go to the gym, you're going to break your bones, all these sort of things. So
it's good.
Yeah, but she needs to, like, people forget, like, let's just say bones for just a minute. People don't realize that you're lifting something heavy, right? A heavy physical weight is building the muscle, but it's also strengthening the bones too. And so that's something.
If you don't use your muscles, the muscle says, oh, I'm not needed anymore. I can get weak. And you have to give them a push.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
They say, I'm needed, I have to grow. That's it.
And so that's a big, piece of the healing. And I think that's where people get stuck too. They're like, I ate perfect, I did everything perfect, and I didn't get better or whatever. It's like, you do need more, and that's okay. People are so afraid to do more for their health because we have such an opposite belief on when it comes to our health and how we take care of ourselves, and if you're a really selfish person, right, and you only care about yourself, well, at least do the best things to take care of yourself if you're a selfish person, right? But if you care about others, right, and you want to help other people, you know what I mean, right? Also take care of yourself really well, because when you take care of yourself really well, you can actually give and help others. Like, so many people are like, I want to help this person and this person and this person. and they're sick and they're hurting and they like, oh, I want to help this and this and this, and they don't even have any money. Like, how are you going to help? Like, what are you going to do to help that? Like, you can't give them money, you can't buy something for them, you can't give them a ride. Like, there's not much that you can do for them, for some people, right? And so that's where I think like these stories are so powerful and these are so important, and what you're doing is really important. And I do appreciate everything that you shared. And maybe if is there anything else that maybe you want to leave us with that you can share?
Well, there are so many nowadays. We have so many opportunities to try holistically. We just we just have the willpower not to give up. So that's so important, and also mindset work, because our brain really supports what we believe. And it was so amazing that you said in the beginning you believed. And this is so important. If I always say, I stay in this dark place, I stay there, then I will stay there. I just have to believe I can get out of this hole, I can heal. And that's so important. It's powerful. It's really powerful. It empowers, and this helps on the healing process. But like you said, it takes time, it takes effort, it takes consistency. Patience is the key. It is really, our body is incredible, but we have to give it time. I also have I have a rare disease still. And I barely talk about it because it is so rare, it is so seldom. And if I tell about it, people think I'm crazy because it is so hard to understand. I think I will come out with it one day. But I also want to see if I get improvements with the superfoods. And I have days and I feel it's getting better. But I don't want to tell it too early because I know this really needs time. But now I feel my gut and I see a perspective that this one will heal too.
I understand. Yeah, definitely understand. And you know what I think happens in our body is, I think when you're dealing with multiple things that your body's trying to fix, I think it prioritizes them. So it starts to like do what's most important, once it's in the healing state and it's able to heal, it's gonna start to prioritize what's most important,
Yeah.
And I've experienced it myself, and I've just seen it in other people just based on thousands of stories, that I've heard. But just one quick example, I got food poisoning, and I was, I still have, I reversed my autoimmune disease, but I'm still recovering the damage that was done. You know what I mean? So sometimes there's tightness, sometimes there's stiffness, but it's definitely nowhere near what it was, right? And it's always improving. But when I got sick, I got the flu, or whatever, food poisoning, and I didn't eat for 5 days, and I was in bed for 5 days. And it was good. It was good because it was like a recovery period. But what's interesting is, because my body was fighting the flu or whatever to get that out, right, in my stomach, everything else in my body was not in any other pain, right, or any other things going on, because it was a prioritizing that was the number one thing it needed to take care of, because there was like life or death situation is what my body was going through, right? And so it prioritizes that. And I've seen that in so many other people. Almost, I like listen to the stories now, and I've seen that happen when someone is sick or they have this, they're like, oh, my autoimmune disease is a remission. Every time I'm sick, my autoimmune disease is a remission. And I'm like, there's definitely something here. I think it's our body's prioritizing. That's most important. I'm not dealing with this. I have to deal with this. You know what I mean? All the inflammation, all the sensors, and all the work that needs to be done is going to this area, right? And that's kind of like, inflammation is our body working. It's doing its job, right? They're like little workers. So like if you hit your arm really hard or bump your knee really hard, it's going to get inflamed. It's not bad. I mean, yeah, it's bad because you bumped it, but it's good because your body's working to fix it, right?
Our body is intelligent, so intelligent.
Yeah, and so I believe what's happening is your body's prioritizing. you know, and it's got this one that is taken care of. Now it's gonna, you know, take care of the next thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
As
Yeah.
long as it's in a good healing state. Obviously, you totally disrupt that. You go back to junk food or whatever. Well, now
No.
ones are going to come back, you know, and it's going to feel worse, and you'll develop a more in the future, or you won't be here anymore. You know, and that's, you know, unfortunate, right? But I want to say thank you. This was really incredible. I think this, we shared a lot of stuff, and I think you provided a lot of value, you know, for anyone listening, or obviously your followers as well, and the people that listen to me. And I can't wait for next time. I mean, I'd be happy in the
Yeah,
future to
of
share
course.
my story on
We will
yours
do
too.
it again in the future. Thank you so much, Kevin. Appreciate that you have taken your time, and yeah, hope we help a lot of people. So
Thank you so much. We'll be talking soon,
okay.
and have
Yeah.
a great rest of your night over there.
Yeah, and have a beautiful day in California. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Bye.